Para los yuresos que boda, omonia la guanaco, mamaqueña irawo.
Underground masterpiece. My name is Art Jackson. I'm a Latin jazz music producer. The material I've chosen was well put together and presented, and which accounts for my considering it a masterpiece. My masterpiece, anyway. Chant For Elegua. Elegua is a deity in the Yoruba tradition, and he is a opener of doors, composed and performed by Erick Barberia. He sings on that first track and is backed up by his father and one of the local gurus, let's say, of Latin music, John Santos. He plays the bata, which are traditional drums for that religion. Composed by Antony Williams, one of the preeminent drummers in jazz for many years. I saw the potential in the track to be converted to Latin jazz, and hopefully have done so successfully. On the track, we have on bass Keith Jones. On piano, we have a Los Angeles-based pianist, Serge Kasimoff. Our saxophone player was Gary Bias, who's best known for his work with Earth, Wind, and Fire. On flute, we have Norbert Stachel. My brother, David Jackson, played timbales, and conga was played by Robertito Melendez. Bésame Mucho. That, of course, is recognized by everyone. It's a recognizable tune and popular in many cultures. Rene Camacho's bass, Otmaro Ruiz on piano, the great Justo Almario on tenor, on trumpet, Sal Cracchiolo, the drummer, Jimmy Branly, and conga and other Latin percussion was handled by, again, Robertito Melendez. We began with a danzón in Bésame Mucho. It moved into cha-cha-cha, we'll call it, and from there into fast mambo, with just outstanding performances in all three sections. To the End of the World was composed by Pat Metheny, a very popular guitarist in the jazz world. He and his pianist, Lyle Mays, wrote this intriguing tune that I presented with a violin and saxophone as lead instruments. The violin was played very skillfully, very beautifully by Mark Cargill. The saxophone was again Gary Bias. Serge Kasimoff on piano, Keith Jones on bass, David Jackson played timbales, and Robertito Melendez rounded it out. Very beautifully presented. Cape Verdean blues. Cape Verde is a island country somewhere between Europe and Africa that Horace Silver's roots are in, just as Chick Corea's are. John Peña was our bassist. On piano, we used a guy named David Goldblatt. Coincidentally, he and John Peña, they toured with Diana Ross together, and they worked very well together, so it was natural to pair them. My brother David played drums, a drum set. And my compay, whose name is Roberto Quintana, playing timbales. Jesus Diaz played conga. Melecio Magdaluyo played tenor. And Bill Ortiz played trumpet. Coqui is a tree frog that is native to Puerto Rico. And the sound he makes is coqui, coqui. Chembo actually was on vacation, heard a coqui, and actually whipped out his cell phone and recorded it. It was composed by Papo Vazquez, who is a New Yorican trombonist who has penned so many stellar compositions and presented. John Beasley was our pianist. Rene Camacho played bass. The great Alex Acuña played drums. We had Erick Barberia playing various Latin percussion. Chembo Corniel played conga. Bill Ortiz on trumpet. Justo Almario on sax. Miguelito Martinez on flute. But for the flute solo, we used Oriente Lopez again. Bosco's tune, Incompatibilidade. The vocalizing was done by Katia Moraes, who is just excellent. She's unbelievably excellent. We had now deceased Paul Van Vachtenen played drums, did a gorgeous job. Our percussion, all Brazilian percussion, was done by my good friend in New York City, Steve Kroon. So he played all Brazilian percussion that you'll hear on the track. The guitar work, both guitars, I used two guitars for it, and both guitars were played by Steve Urquiaga. The bassist was David Belove. Piano, Murray Lowe. Jeff Cressman played trombone and trombones. He did a trombone solo at the end, but he did he recorded himself 3 or 4 times to do a trombone choir during the opening lines of the tune. It's really fantastic. It adds so much punch to it. The last track is called Love for Sale in Concierto. Rodrigo is a Spanish composer, classical composer from the early 20th century. And he composed a tune called Concierto de Aranjuez that was popularized in a jazz presentation by Miles Davis in the 50s. Subsequently, Chick Corea used it as an intro to his most famous composition, one he calls Spain. And I've used it as an introduction to Love for Sale. That is Cole Porter's tune. introducing it with flamenco guitar is how I chose to begin it. Then I added flute to to present the familiar line. Employs some tricky performance by our tenor player, Justo Almario, over which a very, very well-played trumpet, Gilbert Castellanos, plays. Following that, we go into the main body of the tune, Love for Sale, which will be easily and instantly recognizable. There we have on piano, Otmaro Ruiz, on acoustic bass, Rene Camacho. Again, we have the great Alex Acuña and the great Chembo Corniel on conga. The guitarist was Ramon Stagnaro. The flautist was Oriente Lopez. We're preparing a concert for this October. Follow us on our website, Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube.